Is LDL cholesterol alone a risk factor for coronary heart disease? I say no. So I came across this video by Dr. Ken Berry, and he was talking about and displayed a chart, which was a 21-year follow-up from the Women's Health Study. And so I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I found fascinating and give my 2 cents on them. So this actually came about because my husband, every year we get our blood work done, right? It's part of being in the VA system. And it showed his LDL being 247. And so our doctor was like, oh, you need to go on a statin to lower that. And I started doing research, as I always do, and I'm not convinced, not by any stretch of the imagination. So I found this chart, found this video by Dr. Berry, and I thought, let me give my 2 cents and weigh in on this. So if you look at the chart, the largest risk factor by far is type 2 diabetes. Well, my husband's not diabetic, right? He's 6 foot tall. He averages 220 pounds. He exercises 5 to 7 times a week, and we are both ketovores. So he's not intaking sugar, not by any stretch of the imagination, and so he's not type 2 diabetic. Metabolic syndrome. He doesn't have metabolic syndrome because he's not overweight, right? He's pretty lean. His metabolism works as designed because of the way we eat. Hypertension. He does not have high blood pressure either. He's obviously not obese. He does not smoke. He has never smoked. So that's not a risk factor for him either. Family history of premature coronary heart disease. Honestly, I don't think that's genetics. I think that's more cultural. How you were taught to eat is what you typically eat, but we have both stepped out of the matrix and we choose to eat predominantly animal products, actually 97% animal products. So I'm looking at it going, well, wait a minute, if these are all the risk factors, what gives? Like, where's LDL on this chart? And you look down at the second part of the chart, which is the biochemical section, right, of blood work, right, blood tests that they can actually do. And you look at LDL, and you're like, wait a minute. The hazard ratio for LDL is 1.38. Like, the hazard ratio for type 2 diabetes is 10.71. Like, my husband doesn't have any of the other risk factors, according to what they call risk factors. He has high LDL. So then I'm like, okay, so now what? Well, I was lucky enough to come across a video with David Feldman and Nick Norwitz, and they are researching and trying to find out what gives. And so they've come up with a term, a lean mass hyperresponder, and that, I believe, is my husband. Is that he, yes, has a high LDL, but his triglycerides are low, his HDL is elevated, so that risk factor is low. We're not intaking sugar, we're not intaking carbohydrates, we're not intaking things that are bad for us. So LDL alone, I don't believe you can look at just that. I believe you have to look at this chart in its entirety and see how many of these wickets do you hit, right? Because the only one he hits is potentially a high LDL. Now you got to remember, the range for LDL has changed over the years, right? The high end used to be 300, then it was 200, and now it's like 175 or 150 or some damn low number. But then when you look at the UCLA health research that they did between 2000 and 2006, 72% of the people that came into their hospital with heart attack symptoms had a cholesterol less than 130. So why in the hell would I want to bring that down? That doesn't make any sense. And so, no, I don't believe LDL by itself is the needle in the haystack that determines that you need to be on a statin. I'm not buying it. I think it's just another method that Big Pharma uses to try to get everybody medicated, because the longer you can be medicated, the more money they can make. And if you still get sick or you still die, it's not their problem because they're making money from you. And so if you have several of these risk factors, then yeah, you need to really evaluate your decision-making paradigm and get with your doctor and fix your nutrition, go ketogenic, go low carb, and be healthier. Otherwise, you accept what could potentially happen. So it's up to you. You make the decision. It's your body, it's your life, but I hope you choose to live life. With that, I wish you a blessed day.